Get a Job in Tech, episode 228. How to sell anything to anyone. Actually not. It's not possible. However, I'm going to give you a couple things. Now, why is this important? Hey, you say this is a sales. We're talking about sales. What does that have to do with IT? Well, in case you didn't realize it, everybody's in sales, essentially. You're selling all the time. And to apply some of these sales tech, although these are only sales techniques I'm talking about now, you can definitely apply these to your skill set and use them for your benefit in the IT industry, essentially. So let's get started. So how do you identify, now we're talking about sales now, how do you identify your ideal customers? You first look at the bread and butter customers, like who makes the most money, who's buying products, what type of customer has been easy to sell to, which ones see the best results from what you're selling, who gives the most referrals. Others like these are your target audience. Do your market research. Identify the pain points you solve for your customer base. This could be as simple as Googling the company, or you could involve surveying your current customers. You can dig up some insights that can help you get specific on who you should be doing outreach to. So obviously this is really key. Go deep on demographics and customer needs. So go to your favorite social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. And if you're selling a service locally, obviously, right, go to Facebook groups, but find out what people within your target market are discussing. What are they talking about? And identify their pain points. Look for patterns in the types of people who will see the most success with what you're offering, and nail down that target market. Now, this is very key. And so remember, you don't have to be, this doesn't have to be complicated. You can do this within a couple hours or a couple days. You should be able to get down and identify the potential customers you're trying to sell to. Obviously, become an expert in what you're selling. That goes without saying, essentially. And I know from firsthand individuals who they're selling an IT product. Essentially, they're selling like a router or a switch, or they're selling a storage device, and they're an expert on it. They really are, even though they probably don't work on it, but they become an expert because I think some of these companies overwhelm them with so much knowledge that they really understand the product, and they kind of have to if they're selling it. So how do you become an expert, essentially? So a couple different ways to become an expert on your product or your service, let's say. Identify and follow key industry experts. So this is very, very key. This could go for anything. This includes blogs, YouTube, Instagram, podcasts. You follow these and you'll progressively gather more information about your industry. That goes for any industry, and even IT for that matter. Get to know your product like the back of your hand. Develop a close relationship with the product team and get to know what you're selling and why it matters to the customers. Work with a mentor. This doesn't have to be an industry expert. You can learn a lot from an expert salesperson at your own company. Listen in to their sales call. That's key. Learn from the way they talk with potential customers, or even spend an afternoon listening to recorded sales calls. Talk to people. Get on calls with happy customers or industry experts and learn about their day-to-day life. Approach this from a place of genuine interest and curiosity. Next one is build a relationship with potential customers. Now, specific ways you can build trust and authority with potential customers. Ask a ton of questions and listen attentively. Don't just talk, and that'll make a lot of people feel like you're being sold to, essentially. You want to ask open-ended questions, including specific questions about their industry or process. Listen carefully, you can write it down too, to their answers, and ask related follow-up questions. This makes potential buyers feel like you care about their perspective and genuinely want to help. Use your expertise to build trust. When you display a high level of competency in the related field, people are more likely to trust and respect you, which further solidifies the relationship. Go above and beyond. Take every opportunity you can to show you care about their success. If you're selling software, Put together a custom demo. If you're in real estate, offer extra meeting time to discuss their needs in greater detail. And finally, really get to know them. If you want to build a relationship, it can help to go beyond the business side of things. Wining and dining with clients, or just asking them about their families, careers, and life goals outside the work will make them feel connected to you and more likely to buy. This has worked great for a lot of individuals in the past. Now, just be careful with that because, the time, ask them too many questions. They might get a little leery of it. Qualify your leads. This is very, very key right here, especially if you're in sales for anything, really. Now, obviously, you want to know if you are doing the easiest way, really, basically, is to match any lead to your criteria you identified is your ideal customer profile. Do they match patterns you've seen in most successful customers? There is a framework that you can use. It's called BANT, B-A-N-T. It stands for budget, authority, need, and timing. So let's go over this. And this can apply to anything, really. But first things, so the budget. First things first, can they afford your solution or services? For industries like real estate and mortgage lending, you could ask, are they a serious buyer or seller? Or do they qualify for a loan? Ask clarifying questions early on to make sure that they have the budget so you don't waste both your time. Authority, this is a key one. If you're selling to a business, there are likely multiple people working there. You need to find out if the person you're talking to actually has the authority to make a purchase decision, or if you'll also need to talk to their boss or someone else. Indirect to consumer sales, you need to see if someone needs check with their spouse before they can make a big decision. If they do, you'll need to get them on board as well. That's like usually in mortgages or real estate, essentially. The need. It's time to ask qualifying questions that help you understand their problems and whether you have the right solution to solve them. These questions will vary greatly depending on the industry and solution, which is not recommended before you become an expert in your field. The goal here is to figure out what they truly need and how you can provide that. Timing. Need is great, but timing has to be right for this to work. For example, if you're in real estate, a couple might just be thinking about buying a house, but won't be ready for the next year. You should still do your best to build a relationship with them and keep a lookout for what they need, as it can pay off later. But it's not as good. It's good to know for your pipeline that you aren't looking right now. Same thing goes for business to business sales. When budgeting cycles and other timing considerations come into play, for example, the end of the year, October 1st, usually that's the government's fiscal year. Essentially, some companies also have the fiscal year as well. So the October 1st, essentially. Yeah, that's banned for you. Now, obviously, make the purchase a no-brainer. This is the next talking point here. So you add benefits before features. A lot of times what you'll see it's called the freemium, I think. Freemium, where there's like, Gary Vee talks about this, where it's jab, 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 right hook. But essentially, give value, give value, give value. Ask. Give, ask, essentially is what it is. And you have add benefits before features, obviously. You have use highly relevant social proof. So for instance, when potential customers see that you have customers who are similar to their own or have found a solution to the same problems you're facing, you'll have much more powerful sales pitch because you have word of mouth essentially with other people. Because large company, let's say you're building a building for whatever reason, and you have a partner, and the partner says, I don't know if they can build the building. Maybe they're building a hotel, let's say. So you go out and you want to convince them that you're trying to build this hotel, and they're not really sure. So what do? You demonstrate that you can do it, past performance. And prime example, I've paid my construction workers on time. They always get paid. They do great work. And that's how you can convey. That's just a loose example exactly, but because you're building a hotel, now you have to open. So if there's delays, that costs a lot of money. Your partner's not going to want to stick in with you, stick in the be your partner, and keep giving you money just because you don't meet the target. But if you have past performance on that, then you can. That's why a lot of hotel chains, if you see them, they have. That's why they're the same. If you didn't notice that or not, that's why hotel chains don't change. They're exactly the same every time because they have their own contractors. They have their own companies who do the work. They know how to build hotels. Holiday Inn, for example, all Holiday Inns usually look the same because there's a standard. The color scheme, the layout of the hotel, a lot of the beds are the same. The rooms are similar. The products in the rooms are similar, and that's because because they know and they can get the hotel built quickly and to start get revenue. And the people that they partner with are the customers, the companies that they partner with know that, so they're more in line to do business with them. All being said, that goes under use high relevant social proof, essentially, because that's a company saying you can do it. Obviously, you're going to have some sort of CRM, you're going to have some sort of ServiceNow or Salesforce process that you're going to track these individuals. So when you do that, so you're going to have something like, let's say, for instance, you have what it might look like for you to sell. You're going to call on people, right? So day one might look like a phone call. Day two is an email. And then you wait a bit. Day 4 is a phone call and an email, or phone call goes to voicemail. Day 11, email. Day 18, email. Day 32, phone call. And email as well. And day 62, email. So you'll be able to track these. That's why you have a CRM. That's why CRMs are so popular, especially for sales, because you can track them. And of course, goes without saying for social media, updating your social media, updating your products on social media. Again, just jab, 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 right hook. Your product, give them, and then now ask them to buy, essentially. A couple different objections you're gonna have when you sell, and could be, it's probably because you didn't do your due diligence, right? And these are common ones. Lack of budget, meaning they don't have enough money, or we're not scheduled for that. We're not allocated the funds for that right now. The lack of the need, they don't need the product right now. The lack of trust, they don't trust the salesperson. Lack of urgency, they don't want it right now. Nah, we can do it later. And then finally, lack of authority, meaning they're not the person buying the product. Yeah. So thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next one.